So if authors are looking at, they've got their publisher's marketplace, they're constantly on middlegradeninja.com,
Right.
evaluating different agents and trying to figure out who's right for them. And obviously, they're watching and listening to this, and they say, Elana Roth Parker, that's the one. But they send you a query, and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. So they can't get you. How should they go about evaluating agents? What are things to look for to tell a good agent from a bad one?
Well, that's hard because not everything's super transparent on the internet. Uh, I mean, what you really want to do is find the people who are selling books like yours. So that's the best metric to look for is the people who represent things in your category that are actively selling books in those categories, which means you have to read a lot. Like you need to know what the marketplace looks like. So even before you start looking for an agent, it's really good to know what's being published in your field. So like what kinds of middle grade, what kinds of young adult, and then those books often have acknowledgments on the back, and you can always find out who represented those books by who the author thanked for all their labor. And that's the best way to start. And of course, there's many, many online resources, Query Tracker, Publishers Marketplace, where you can look up, or Publishers Weekly does their children's bookshelf newsletter twice a week, where deals are listed. Just paying attention to who's selling adjacent to what you're publishing. That's the first thing to look for, to make sure you're not targeting badly. And then from there, there's a lot of homework to do. I mean, thankfully there is the internet. Not thankfully there's the internet. Agents have Twitter. You can always feel like you're getting to know somebody that way. But again, that's self-presentation. You don't know what's real or not real based on how someone's, popular on Twitter. Like there's very popular agents on Twitter, and I don't know, like I'm not necessarily that impressed by their sales or their books. It's hard. Like you kind of just have to go with your gut. You have to do homework. You have to read interviews that they give online. It's looking at their history is really, really important. Like really someone's sales history is the most important thing you can look for. Are they selling to places you can't get your book yourself? Do they have access to the publishers you want to see your book published by? Like those are the important pieces, like, because that'll tell you if they have the capacity to like be aggressive with you or get you where you can't go. Like there's plenty of authors, and it's a way to go is if you want to self-publish, great. Like, or if you want to go to small presses, great. Do you need an agent for those things? Not necessarily. But if your goal is something other than that, and you need someone to help you do things you can't do by yourself, that's really what you're looking for somebody to do. So I always say, like, look at an agency's records. Like, are they selling to small presses that you can submit to by yourself? Like maybe that's not really that helpful for you. Like that's not getting your foot in the door anywhere. And then experience level is another thing. Like I have no problem with a junior agent. I was a junior agent, once upon a time. I had 5 years in the business before that where I was working with lots of different publishers. So I wasn't like nothing, I had a baseline education. Other junior, like we have an awesome junior agent, like she's learning from us. So like we trust her, like if someone's young, knowing who they're learning with, like knowing who their bosses are is important, because then you can look to that boss's street cred and history. Just like, I really think it's because it's such an experience-based business, you really want somebody who knows the ropes or is being taught by somebody who really knows the ropes. And that's it. And then once you're really getting into the weeds on like if someone's offered you representation, then you need to like know if the style is right for you, if their editorial style is right for you, if their communication style is right for you, if they're transparent and trustworthy, if they conduct business in a way that makes you comfortable, if your personalities fit together or not. Like there's a lot of different ways of going about this business. Like I myself have a small client list and a very strong personal relationship with each client. Like I want to be accessible to everybody. I want them to all feel comfortable to get in touch with me whenever they want to. I don't want to have too many people that I can't do that for everybody. But that's one style. Other people are not like that. Some people are much more, have huger lists, outsource more to assistants. They're not handholdy. they're just kind of like, they might be more of like, we call them sharks, like they're more like they're just aiming big, aiming high, and getting those big deals, which are awesome. Like we all want to have big book deals, but publishing is also a very long, labor of love, and you have to roll with the punches and see what you get and strategize. And if you want someone that's going to stick with it, if you don't get a huge book deal out of the gate, that's a thing. Like there's a lot of pieces. I know I just said so many things, and there's a lot to parse through there. It's not like one piece of advice, but it's having like a good holistic understanding of who that person is style-wise, how they function in the industry, and what are they like to work with on a day-to-day basis. Like when I offer
how would be to find that out about somebody, because that's usually not on Publishers Marketplace.
No, it's not. Like sometimes you're not going to know any of those things until you talk to them. And truthfully, a lot of that stuff's a moot point unless that person loves your book and wants to assign you. Like you're only going to get that opportunity if you've written something really solid that gets attention. And then once you're on the phone, then you have the opportunity to really like do a probing, interview and like find out what they're like, how they talk, what their vision is for you in your career. When I offer representation to a potential client, like I talk to them on the phone for at least an hour, hour and a half on that first time, because it's for us to get to know each other and for the writer to ask questions and see what it's like to work with me. Sometimes people have more than one offer, in which case they should do that with every person who offers, because that's the only way to get to know what your options are, what you're choosing between. I also always offer to let the potential clients talk to my existing clients, and they can ask them whatever they want to ask them. That way they have references, and sometimes they'll pick who they want to talk to. Sometimes I'll make suggestions, but then that gives them a feel for what a couple of years with me looks like. And it's not, unfortunately, it's never a guarantee of success. Like I don't, because I can't predict what everything's going to do, but it's a long tail view. Like you have to you want to know what somebody's like to work with for a while, not just this first thing. And that's the moment where I really feel like people need to do their due diligence and not just get like so excited that they got an offer that they take it. Like you don't have to take it. If there's something about the agent that gives you pause, or you don't really think they know what they're doing, or they're not really representing your category, but they're like taking a chance on this thing because they like it. You want to feel really comfortable. Like that's the thing I tell people.
If you've been out there in the query go round for 2 or 3 years and here finally.
No, I have most of my clients, it's not their first book they've queried. Like most of them have tried it once or twice. Or had an agent before and it didn't work out. Like not everybody's like wet behind the ears it's their first thing out the gate. So, that's always nice too, because then someone comes to you with a little more maturity and sense of where they want to be, and can, be, not as naive. I don't mean that in a negative way, but when people are just like so excited, like you want to be like, okay, we got to do real work now. Like we got to like really take this one step at a time. Because you got to like gird your loins and buck up for, getting an agent's one thing, getting published is another.
Nope, you've signed me. Let's schedule a lunch with J.K. Rowling. Let's do this.
Yeah.